In this episode, I am introduced to several handsomely crafted chimneys and home places tucked away in the dark corners of the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina. Some we detect and some we explore, but all we admire and wonder and in awe and surmise what life was like living there. I invite you on this unique journey into the high country of North Carolina. Stay tuned. So what's the story on this? I mean, it looks like an old chimney there. Yep. Obviously, it's an old framed house. Look at that. And that chimney is very typical what we've already seen.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Up and down the valley.
Right. It was mud stacked.
Mud stacked.
No mortar on it.
Yep. Look at that. That is awesome.
That's the biggest one of them trees I've seen down here. What is this?
It's a hemlock.
A hemlock?
Yeah.
Round nails. So sawed lumber, I mean, it came into use. I mean, it was used back in the 1830s and 40s if there was a sawmill local.
Not here, though.
Not here.
Not here. The earliest sawmill we can find record of here was post-Civil War.
Post-Civil War. So the houses here are going to post-date that then.
If they're sawed lumber.
If they're sawed lumber.
And looking at the fenestration on this, I would say 1880s.
Yep.
Wow.
Look at that. Look at that cellar.
Yeah, there was
crawl space or something.
A very nice root cellar under the house.
Oh, man.
As you can see, that's falling in. Come on, Woody. Woody. No.
Well, house got a lot of termite damage, unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yep. All the way up, both
all
levels.
The way up, yeah. Both floors done at one time. That's dry. No fire barriers, no.
Yeah, look, you see where the termites would just eat this up.
Look at the curtains.
Man, look where the termites. That's a shame.
Yeah. Now there was another room on the back of the house here.
So now you can see the balloon framing. We call that balloon framing.
Right. Yep.
Right there.
Yep.
It was real common back in the 18s, clear up really up until like 1930-ish.
Yeah, right.
And then they started framing off the second level. Yeah, it's gingerbreading, and that is typical of 1870, 1880,
yeah.
1890.
I would call that country gingerbread.
Country.
Yeah, it's a little less ornate.
And you always have the daffodils. That's always a telltale sign of a homestead. Forsythia is another telltale sign of old home site.
Post office.
You know, as long as it's got that metal roof on here, this thing will stand. As long as the wood will hold it, it'll stand. It's a nice old Ford truck. It's in better shape than the house.
Short bed.
My son would buy that, I guarantee it. My son loves, he wants to restore old vehicles.
It was running when it was parked there.
We are going to investigate a couple places on Matthew's property. And it's going to be right out this road. And this road here is an old pioneer road. And believe me, I don't know if you guys can see this on the video, but this is pretty steep, isn't it? Yeah. It's steep, and we are high up. And you probably can't see out there, but you say we're about 2,700 feet up.
2,650, I think.
And I mean, you could see the clouds and the fog out there. And they would locate houses where they had good running water and good springs. So we're going to go take a look at that. We don't know the history of it. We don't know what treasures are in the ground. But you're going to see the relics because we've already seen those. There's a lot of relics on the ground. So you guys are going to get to see that. we're going to see if we can't date this place and see, maybe save some history. I am on the site now, and I don't know if you can see right above me here, there is a leveled area here, and this is where a cabin stood. And I'm going to show you right on up here too, right on the left side of the road, there was also a cabin. And do you think it was a house cabin or a shed or a barn? Or it was a root cellar. Root cellar. Okay, so you guys are going to see that. But I wanted to show you something that's very common to these mountain communities and these mountain cabins, and that's daffodils. Even here, you can see the daffodils. And so this is a great telltale sign of a house site, is when you see stuff like this. Of course, you see there's sheet metal here. The sheet metal is going to be from the roof of this house. I don't know the age of the house. That's not going to tell me anything, not yet. But right up through there, you can see some daffodils. And just walking up through here, I've seen a number of pieces of pottery shards. Right over here, I see this. And this is some pretty old pottery, actually. See that? That's pretty cool. And actually, I pulled this out of the ground the other day when I came up to check this place out. But Cody found some stuff, right? We're going to go take a look at what Cody found. It's right up here. And Cody does not have a metal detector. Let me pull this down where you guys can see. I'm sorry. He does not have a metal detector. And he has found a ton of stuff just kicking it around, kicking it out of the dirt, right? This is where the chimney stood, right here. This is the chimney pile. This is the hearth stone or the mantle stone that went over the opening right here. Right over here, I'm going to take you guys to the spring. Right here is the spring. Now, the water flows right out of the ground. There's the roots of this tree. The water flows right out, and it's got a good trickle of water coming out of there. And it comes down here, and it disappears underground right there. The house site stood right over there. They had their spring right here, and they were able to eke out a homestead here. Probably not enough water to support and sustain livestock. So I do not know what kind of homestead this is. Settlers, yes, definitely settlers. Farmers, I highly doubt that. Why don't we turn on our machine and let's get started. My first target, 16, 17 now. Matthew over there, he's been digging bullets, so we probably will. I found a bullet right there. Now it says it's only about 2 inches in the ground, so it's not going to be that deep. So it should be right under the surface. Oh man, I think I already see it. And we're going to be dogged by this stuff. I think it's a big piece of sheet metal. I did pull it out. And you know, we may find a lot of this. There's going to be a lot of this stuff in the ground. All right. I pulled the plug and it's still in here. There, oh, there it is. All right, what is that? Turn this thing off. What is this? Okay. It almost looks like the bolt action of a rifle, but I don't know. It's brass. And you know, we're thinking that the kitchen was over here. I'm going to show you some things that are over here. One is pieces of a wood stove, and you can see here, this looks like the top where a pipe came out of. And this would be a cooking stove, probably the flashing part that went above a cooking stove. So I'm right here, found the first object over there, second object right here, and it is brass, but I do not know what this object is, nor can I date it. All right, you guys, I pulled the plug, had to dig around the root, so I didn't bring you guys on because there's a lot of noise in here. It's very, very chattery. because the house stood right here. But I did find this. And this, I think, is, I thought it might be a musket ball, little lead round ball. But you know, I'm not 100% so sure, because it looks like there's a little hole right there. But it would be an old, probably an old buckshot. It's a little bit bigger than a buckshot, but it's smaller than a Pioneer lead ball. So I don't know what this is. I don't know. All right, let's keep going. All right, I just dug up my first mason jar lid, and I'm only showing you guys because I want to see what the brand is, because sometimes these actually can be quite old. Now when I say old, I'm talking probably post Civil War. Okay, we got a name in here. Genuine jar. It's a genuine mason jar. That's what it says. I would say it's post 1900s. So, all right, we're looking for older stuff than this, but actually, you know, even stuff like this can help date this site when someone lived here. So we know definitely they lived here in the 1900s. And I'm going to show you so far what has been found that you guys have not seen. Did find a little, like, bra buckle. And some other knickknacks. I don't think that's real old because that's aluminum and it's got a top on it. I think that is probably to a coffee pot. What do you have?
A little piece of a gear.
Yeah. That is from a clock. And that is probably from a mantle clock. And or it was right there in the kitchen. The kitchen was right there. The actual mantle is right over there where you can see the big long stone. They dug back into this mountain quite a bit. I can't imagine digging this by hand. This site, I told Matthew, I said, these pioneers here were poor. Virginia, they were poor. North Carolina, they're dirt poor.
Ain't no.
You guys, we are coming up onto the second site. The first site's right over there with where Matthew and his son Cody is. Here is the foundation, and I've never seen a foundation like this. The rocks are stacked up this way. You see that? Stacked up that way. It comes back to a point here. It goes back that way to a point there, across there, and there. Now this is artifacts they have pulled out just lying on the ground. And of course we see our nemesis right here. This is a ball canning jar lid. Got some pretty looking glass there. Coffee, that's pretty there. That's a cap for a wood stove right there. And you know, I've noticed being here, there's a lot of this kind of stuff, and this is quartz rock. And I'm told that there is gold in this part of North Carolina, and it would be embedded in quartz like this. It's very common here, and it's all over the ground. Yeah, you can see where it went in right there. It's either a bullet or a
Battery terminal piece.
battery terminal. Full task. All right, you guys, we are at the chimney site. You're going to see them right there. There's one. And right back there is another one. And you can see here, there is daffodils as well. But man, this place is awesome. This is awesome. We are deep in the mountains of North Carolina and come across a beauty like that. Gorgeous. Here's another one right here. This chimney is pointing that way. So the house went this way, and this chimney is pointing this way. So likely was an L here. And if that's the case, we probably have an opening that was right over here, and we probably have a porch that was right over here. And you can see a pile of rocks here, it's a big boulder, and there's a big boulder. So I can imagine this being the old country lane here, and their front porch that right here, and they had daffodils right there and a holly tree. And again, this is another site. There's a lot of these sites up in these mountains here that no one knows who ever lived here. It's just lost in history. The family names are lost in history. We're going to call it today. It's just pouring down the rain. We're getting soaking wet. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Oh, my little darling, don't you weep and moan. Some sweet days are coming, gonna carry my baby home. Oh, my little darling, don't you weep and cry. Some sweet days are coming, gonna marry you and I. Up and down the railroad, across that county line. Pretty girls all laughing, my wife's always crying. Oh, my little darling, don't you weep and moan. Some sweet days are coming, gonna carry my baby home.